Welcome to Focus on the Fun Stuff, the podcast for business owners who want to build a business that they actually love. I'm your host, Emma Mills, seven-figure founder of MyPA, the UK's leading virtual PA support agency. And since 2008, MyPA has helped thousands of business owners to buy back their time, get out of the weeds, and focus on what matters most. And every week on the podcast, I'm sharing my own journey live as it happens and interviewing other business owners who've been exactly where you are now. And we're sharing practical tactics and real strategies to help you build a business that works for you, not the other way around. Sacha Lord, welcome to Focus on the Fun Stuff.
Thank you for inviting me.
I am extremely excited to have you here today. I almost feel like you need no introduction. You're the founder of Warehouse Project, Parklife. For the Mancunians listening, the operator and owner of Sankey Soaps for 6 years, which is like the legendary club
6 years.
In Manchester. You are a legend in our office, I have to say. Before we left, Crispin told the team, they were like, "Oh, where are you going?" It was like we said, and there was like, "No way."
Did you, Crispin? That's felt like.
Yeah. The team were buzzing that you were coming on the podcast today.
It's like Crispin, who I've just insulted before, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's making a Scouse joke.
Yes,
not realising he was a Scouse.
That's him as well. Yeah. You're a Sunday Times bestseller as well.
Well, that winds me up because yes, I am. I came second.
Did you?
In the top 10, I was number 2.
Well, who were you behind?
I was beaten by a book about a dog that died.
Right? No.
Now, very sad. I love dogs. I probably love dogs more than humans, but being beaten by a dog that died. This is my 30-year career. I've been shot at and all sorts of different stuff. So yeah, I was beaten by a dead dog.
That's not on the sticker though. It's just Sunday Times bestseller.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm just so excited today to unpack your journey from literally selling leather jackets at a market in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So you owe that city something here.
They used to steal the jackets off me.
To creating it is the biggest festival in the UK.
So when I sold Warehouse Project in March 2024, it was the biggest nightclub in the world. And
wow.
Yeah, and when I sold Parklife at the same time, it was the biggest metropolitan festival in the UK.
Oh my goodness. I
don't know if it still is, but it was when I sold them.
It's unbelievable. I guess to start, Sacha, and also I don't know if you remember, so we've known each other online for quite a while now.
Yep.
And my first, I don't know if you remember where we met, but my first interaction with you was really nice. So we were both up for Entrepreneur of the Year at Paul Kilroe's Talk of Manchester Awards. Do you remember them? And you had Mr. Deansgate on your table. Do you remember?
That was bloody years ago.
Yeah. So that's how I first knew who you were, and we were both in the category. And I think I tweeted you about it on there, like I was really excited to be in a category with you and other people. And then you messaged me, and I can't remember how it happened, but you very, very kindly gifted me 4 VIP tickets to see Joris Vaughan.
Serious, did I?
Yes.
Do you know what? At the time I was single, so I was sending them out to any girls that showed interest. It's a fishing exercise.
Well, I was very happy about it. Yeah,
good.
No.
Just to point out, sorry, I'm not, ambitious or anything like that, but I did actually win that award, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No, and that was sewn up. I knew.
No, the organiser got very upset with me because I was supposed to go up and make a speech.
Right.
And at the time, I was useless at public speaking. I hated it. So I sent Mr. Deansgate up to make the speech. I remember that.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, he was this real known character. Anyway, I digress on Mr. Deansgate. But yeah, no, you gifted me 4 VIP tickets to Joris Vaughan, which was amazing at the venue on
Store Street.
Yes, Store Street.
I've got that road sign, you know.
Have you really?
Yeah, so I was at Store Street from 2007 to 2019.
Wow.
And up until that point, no one had actually... Taxi drivers didn't know where Store Street was. It's just a back street, so we made it quite well known. Everyone now knows where Store Street is. And I was stood outside that door every Friday and every Saturday looking at the sign, Store Street, and I thought, I'm going to have that sign. So you can't... if you put a ladder up at 4 a.m, it looks pretty dodgy, doesn't it? Because it was 20 foot up in the air. So I got a guy to turn up, put a high-vis jacket on during the daytime and took the roadside down. And it's framed, it's in my office at home, but it's a proper heavy Victorian. No. It's one of the original signs.
So everybody just assumed he knew what he was doing because he got a high vis on?
Yes.
Manchester Council might come knocking for that sign now, maybe.
I think I've got away with it, don't worry.
So, okay, let's just dig in a little bit. So you did literally start selling leather jackets at the market
did.
in Liverpool.
Yep.
And just what was that jump to getting into the world of promotion, nightclubs? Like, how did you make that jump? And was it intentional as well?
No, so it wasn't. So I was selling, my first job actually was the original flannels.
Of course, in Goose Green.
In Goose Green, in Alty, yeah. Are you from Alty?
No, I did live in Hale quite a while, but I do remember when flannels was in Goose Green. It's now on the pedestrian George bit, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was working there £20 a day, and I thought I need to make a little bit more money. So I started to look into things, and I started a market stall on the only day that flannels was closed, which was Sunday over in Liverpool, selling leather jackets. And what I did was I found the manufacturer that made all the next leather jackets.
Right.
And if there was a fault, like literally a button come off or something like that, they'd sell them wholesale for like 30 quid. So I'd buy 10 jackets, get my mum to put the buttons on or do the zip up or something like that, and sell them for 140 quid on Liverpool market.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'd gone from making 20 quid a day to 600-700 quid on a Sunday. So it's like, all right, flannels, you can do one. But at the same time, I was obsessed with the hacienda, and I just felt I needed to be part of that scene. That's what I wanted to do. I was pretty much a geek, that came from a grammar school, Manchester Grammar. So how do I get into what the cool kids are doing? And I started to put my own parties on.
And do you mean like when you were obsessed with the hacienda, like you were going and visit, or you were thinking like, I want to do something that's making money out of this kind of thing? Like what?
I liked the music. I thought it blew my mind. The first time I walked into the hacienda, the first time we were not back, because I'd heard all the sixth formers at school saying, this is the coolest place in the world to go to, and it was all over the press. So I thought, okay, well, you've got to be really well dressed to get in there. And I put my dad's suit on, my dad's shirt, my dad's tie, got to the front door, and he told me to fuck off. Okay, that was it. So the week later I went back in jeans and t-shirt and walked in, and just the atmosphere, 2,000 people having it right off, was just incredible. And I didn't realise, I was there with my pal at the time, Peter Armstead. It was only 6 months later that we both realised we were probably the only people not on ecstasy inside
really?
the venue. Yeah, inside the venue. But it was amazing. And then at the same time as being obsessed with that, a friend of mine whose mum and dad were really wealthy had his 18th birthday party at a club. It's closed now, but it used to be in Alderley Edge called Yesterdays. And it was on a Monday night, pre-internet or anything like that. So he just sent a few flyers out, and they were the little business cards that you get at service stations, inviting people. He invited about 80 people, but word spread, and he got 400 people.
Right.
And I thought, do you know what? If I can do this, if I can find somewhere that's normally closed on a Monday or a Tuesday and get them to give me the club for free, I can get 400 people in here. The club will make on the bar. I'll charge £2.50, £3. There's something decent in that, and that's how it started. And
did that feel like I'm going to make this happen kind of thing, or did it feel a bit overwhelming, or was it?
So it had to happen because I needed money to pay bills. So it was out of necessity. The first one was just as a one-off, really, to pay off my phone bill and that kind of thing. Yeah. But it succeeded, and I thought, this is quite good, let's do a few more.
And did you think at that point, like, this is going to be my thing?
No. So I suffered really badly at school. I went to a brilliant school.
Manchester Grammar?
Yeah. But all the kids in my class went to Oxford or Cambridge or St Andrews. They knew what they wanted to do, be lawyers and, And at 15, 16, 17, when you don't have a clue what you want to do, anxiety comes in to play.
Yeah.
And I was really stressed. I was really panicked. And that's kind of the idea why my wife, Demi, and I set up my foundation, which is due to start in a few months. It was due to start a couple of years ago. It's got charitable status, but then Demi decided to get pregnant. So it was put on the back burner. But the idea of that is to help kids in Greater Manchester who, like me, are suffering from anxiety, back at that stage of 15, 16, 17, 18, don't know what they want to do with their lives. So I can give them, open my black book and get them into hospitality or events and, try and help them flourish.
Mega.
That's the idea behind it, yeah.
That's because I feel like even more so now with AI and kind of the job landscape potentially changing, like having a place where people can actually get some support, figure out what they want to do, what's the right way.
It's so tough out there, you know.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Tough. In fact, today, as we speak, there's a report, this is boring, but there's a report that's come out by Alan Milburn, and it's advising the government, you know, kids have never had it so bad.
I would hate to be a teenager now.
Yeah, you know, I would have a Saturday job to earn a bit of extra income. They've gone now.
Don't exist
at all. It's really, really tough. And potentially we're looking at a lost generation of jobs coming through. Totally.
So, so you do this event with your friend for your friend's birthday in Alderley Edge.
Yep.
So then, like, what is that kind of trajectory of going? I'm going to do this a bit more. I'm going to earn some good money out of it to go in. Because was your first full night at Paradise?
Hacienda.
Hacienda was the first.
4th of July 1994 at the Hacienda.
Okay.
And do you know the story about that?
I do know that you said about freshers, and then actually all the students had gone home.
Well, yeah, there is that, but see, I'm testing you on the book now.
I know you're testing me on the book.
You've not read it, have you?
I've read half of this book, Sacha.
Well, it's in the first half, so you've read it now. So basically, what happened, my friend Arnie and I decided, okay, let's put a night on at the Hacienda. And they wanted, I think, 1,200 quid plus VAT.
Right.
Which, for a Monday night, I now look back and know I got ripped off. And there was I'm very confident they probably never paid the VAT to the VAT man either. But we thought, okay, well, we've got this. We're going to have to, I think our break even was like 500 or something like that. And we stupidly thought, Monday night, it's the Hacienda. All the students are going to come. Yeah. It's going to be great. 4th of July 94, all the students have gone. University's shut. That's our first mistake. So then we came up with a plan, and we went, because you'll know, if you say to somebody, don't tell this person, or don't say that, or don't say... The first thing you're going to do the second you say that, you turn your back and you start gossiping
Absolutely.
About. So we went to all the shops in town and we gave them some flyers and said, look, we're from the Hacienda. That's a lie. Lie number one, not from the Hacienda, we've just hired the Hacienda. So we're from the Hacienda. We want to thank you for putting all the Hacienda flyers on the counter throughout the year and everything. What we're going to do to thank you is you, as the manager, plus your best mate, can come on the guest list for the 4th of July this year, and all your mates and friends can come. It's £7, but you can have reduced guest list for £5. Don't tell anyone. We've got Manchester United turning up. We've got Take That. We've got MP. This is all bollocks. We've got all these people turning up. Anyway, I think we got 780 people, so we broke even. We managed to pay all the bills. The problem was none of those people were turning up. So after a couple of hours, and people had a few drinks, I started to get a tap on the shoulder to say, well, where's Take That? Fortunately for us, we knew, he owns Toast in Altrincham, actually. We knew Justin Orange, who was Jason's exact twin brother. So I was like, what are you talking about? There's Jason Orange over there. And that was it. We just managed to pull this off. But all promoters are blaggers.
Because you said you were a bit of a nerdy kid and you were anxious about what you wanted to do, but it feels like when you started this, you came into your own.
Well, no, do you know what? It was my art teacher, Mr. McGuinness.
Okay.
So all the kids at Manchester Grammar, and again, it's a brilliant school, but they're all, I look at them now, they're like penguins.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all dressed, you know, even if they're not in the uniform, I can spot an MGS kid a mile off. You know, it's the haircuts, it's the way they carry themselves, and it you know, it's brilliant, but I just struggled to be one of them, because I'd gone from, in prep school, being in the top 3 to joining MGS, and I was in the bottom 3 consistently. You know, I felt like a bit of a wally. And Mr. McGuinness, who follows me on Instagram now, who has said I can call him Steve, which I find really weird. To me, he's still Sir.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll always call him Sir. He got me into, he gave me a tape, firstly, of a Manchester band called The Man from Del Monte. And at the time, I'd been listening to like Michael Jackson and stuff like that. So he sort of changed my musical taste.
Okay.
And at the time, I had one of these stupid black box briefcases, you know, with the double code thing on either side. Yeah, for school, yeah.
Right.
That you put the code and it clicks up like that. So he's like, why are you conforming like every other kid at the school? He said, ditch the briefcase. You know, I've not said this, but you don't have to wear the uniform correctly if you don't want it. And I was like, this is bloody brilliant. And at the same time, my mum and dad were going through a divorce as well. So I thought, I'm going to rebel. This is it. And at that point, I spent became obsessed with art. A, he was my teacher. B, I loved art. And C, I quickly worked out if you're in the art halls, other teachers weren't really looking at what you're doing, so you had the freedom to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm going to the art hall, but actually I was spending time outside the girls' school instead, in Plattfields, Manchester High. Little did I know, a few decades later, that would be the birthplace for Parklife.
No way. Yeah. And why do you think Mr. McGuinness was encouraging you to rebel so much?
He was just a really nice guy, and I think he knew, we never spoke about it, but I think he knew I was going through a pretty traumatic period with my mum and dad divorcing. So yeah, I found solace in the art halls.
No way. So, Sankey Soaps.
Yeah.
Like the trajectory to get. Like, did you actually hire the building and rent the building and operate inside it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, like the trajectory to go from promotion and club nights to Sankey's, like, did that feel like a massive step or a natural progression?
Not massively, because so I'd been running for quite a few years student nights.
Yeah.
But also I put some bigger events on as well on New Year's Eve. So I hired Granada Studios, which capacity of 5,000.
Oh wow!
So I was starting to dip my toe into the bigger events. But my rival was a Cockney guy, East End guy called Dave Vincent, who's actually just reopened Sankey's here in Manchester. In the old Holy City Zoo. But he phoned me up and we had a couple of meetings about, we were being real dicks against each other and things, because I was running New Year's Eve at Granada Studios. He was running New Year's Eve at Manchester Arena, 9X in those days.
Wow.
Good. So I do things to wind him up, like, he had an office in Beehive Mill where Sankey's was. And I'd phone up and I'd put a weird accent on, normally hold him there, go, I've just seen your posters. That's it. Oh yeah, where have you seen it? I've seen them in Chester. Is it true it's cancelled? And I was sat in my car on the mobile outside his office, like down like that there, so you couldn't see. And what do you mean cancelled? He said, well, yeah, all your posters got cancel stickers all over them around the whole of Chester. Literally 5 minutes later, I'd see him and his two guys he worked with jump in the car and like waste the day driving to Chester. So we'd each waste each other's time. And he's like, why don't we just combine our efforts and do something together? And Sankey's had been open 94 to 98. It had to close because, well, he went bankrupt actually, but he was about to lose his licence with, drugs and guns and all sorts of things. And yeah, we reopened it October 2000.
And at this point, so from a business perspective, it's you and Dave and like the team around you, who or what was that, like, a first hire or to like liberate your time? What did the team look like at this point? Did you have a team?
The first hire, actually, I hadn't heard of him. It was a guy that lived near me, who years later was one of the people who we started Warehouse Project with, and that was Sam Candell.
No way.
So he'd go around town putting up posters and handing out flyers on the streets and things like that. Then we built it. We built quite a small team. There was like probably 3 or 4 of us to begin with, because back in those days, we hired everything because we didn't know whether it was going to last 3 months or years. Reason being, it was pretty tough, Manchester, in those days. The night before the opening night, we were petrol bombed and the gangsters wanted the door, and it was horrible. It was, if you had read the book, which you haven't, you'd know all these stories. But yeah, do read it. If you don't like reading, you can do the podcast.
You'll see where the page is turned, where I've got halfway through.
That's not hard. It's not even a third.
No, it is. It is.
It's not. So yeah, that's how it started, and it did actually last 6 years. And I towards the end, I got really bored of Sankey's because it was the same 4 walls week in, week out. We were starting to book the same DJs, and it turned into a job.
Okay.
It wasn't something I loved. But so that was 2005, I started to get those feelings. In 2003, I had got the first licence since John Major had closed down all the legal raves in the UK. Manchester City Council gave me the licence to put the first warehouse party on since then. And I really enjoyed that. We had 12,000 people. Do you know what? I've just been looking at it. I was in traffic on the way here, and Pollard Street now is all flats.
Yeah.
That's where the warehouse was. And it was owned by a lady called Caroline Scoe, who's sadly no longer with us, who was one of the owners of a Paradise Factory back in the day in Manto in the village. And it was great, 12,000 people. No one had a clue what they were doing. You know, we brought the sound systems in on the back of trucks. The whole thing was just wild. And the one thing I'll never forget is I had like 84 license conditions on my license. The world was looking at, they thought I was going to break the license.
Okay.
You know, there's no way you could carry this off. It's impossible. And I think some officers at the council wanted me to trip up. So they came down inspecting every half an hour.
While the event was happening?
Whilst the event was happening.
Wow.
In the first 2 hours, one of them said to me, well, we've counted all your security. You're supposed to have 84. You got 86, actually, so you've done well on that. But where are your sniffer dogs? You're supposed to have drug sniffer dogs on the door. I was like, yeah, you're right. I've no idea. Let me phone security. So the guy I was hiring all the door lads off, bearing in mind it was early 2000s, it's not as professional as it was now. It's a guy called Tony Ratcliffe. His nickname was Ratty, from Wigan. Chorley, actually. And it's like, Ratty, where are the drug sniffer dogs? He was like, leave it with me, love. They'll be there in half an hour. It's like, all right, fine. This guy was about 6'6", peroxide blonde hair, must have gone on the sunbed twice a day. Like, the amount of steroids he must have taken back in, like it was a wall, a walking wall. Half an hour passed. Ratty, they're on the way. Then he stopped answering his phone, so I had the number of his right-hand guy, Dave Paul. It's like, Dave, where are these dogs? Anyway, these dogs turned up. I had a call on the radio to the dogs at the front door. I looked at Dave and like, these aren't sniffer dogs, are they?
No, what were they?
Like, what do you mean? One of them was a fucking Pomeranian, right? Like, you can't have a Pomeranian as a sniffing dog, right? I know that. I said, like, where have these dogs come from? It's like, do you want me to be honest with him? Like, yeah, just tell me where these dogs have come from. He said, well, Ratty made us drive around Chorley and we've just taken them out of people's gardens. I'm like, you are joking. So we had like 6 nicked dogs. And to this day, I don't know what happened to those dogs.
No.
Yeah, but I was like, we can't have the dogs on the tour.
Do you know what the karma is? That dog beat you in the Sunday Times bestseller list. That is the karma.
Is that the dead dog?
That is the dead. Well, I don't think it's the dead dog from that, but
it
it's
did very
karma.
well. It lasted 20 years.
I don't think it's the same dog.
Yeah,
no. So did you have just a little collection of 6 random, completely different
randoms.
dogs that were
6
like,
randoms.
why am I at this rate?
We weren't even looking at customers. You know, every time a door lad brought a sandwich out, all little wagging tails looking at us. It was pathetic.
Oh,
Yes.
that's quite cute, but
Yeah.
sure, quite stressful at the time.
Very stressful. When you got 12,000 people off their head in the rave and these Pomeranians running around, it's not great.
And having someone like inspect it every 2 hours, I mean, gosh.
It was tough. And I think, to be fair to the council, they had eyes on them as well.
Yeah,
because they granted me this licence, but other authorities were like, why have you granted that? That's going to set precedent, which it did.
Because was that a very unusual event then?
Highly unusual.
Right.
Yeah, highly unusual.
And so why did you just think this is going to work? This is what people want. It's completely different to what I was doing. Like, what was the
It was just
impetus behind it?
Everything was so boring at the time.
Right.
And that's kind of why we started Warehouse Project. Warehouse Project was supposed to be a 1-year project. That was it. But actually, in those 3 months, as it runs October through to New Year's Eve, we sold 100,000 tickets. I was like, wow, this has got to carry on. And the first year was in Boddington's Brewery.
Of course, right, okay.
Which was a nightmare for me. It was the
Right.
toughest gig. So it was fully licensed. Everything was above board. But what myself, the production company, the licensing officers, fire, police, sorry, anyone listens to this, I have got a chest infection.
Yeah.
So we forgot it's right next door to Trainsways Prison. So on the opening night, my phone starts ringing. And I thought, so we had Public Enemy. It was a Thursday night, actually. And it kept ringing withheld. And I thought, I'm not going to answer this. Someone's after guest list. Anyway, it was still ringing at 1 a.m. So I answered it. And I was like, hello. And it was the governor from Strangeways Prison. He's like, what time do you close tonight? I was like, 2 o'clock. He was like, okay, fine. Well, we can live with that. I said, but tomorrow night we're on till 4. And Saturday on till 5. He said, what do you mean? Is this not a one-off? I'm like, no, we're open for 3 months. He went on record to say that the Warehouse Project caused a spike in drugs in Strange Ways. And we were getting letters on Strange Ways letterhead sent to the office to say, oh, I've been on the internet, I listened to the set on Saturday night, great set by Annie Mac. I don't suppose you recorded it, can you? Can you send us a tape? Like, this is mental. So environmental health made us move it.
So why, how and why did
The
it cause
base
a
was
spike?
leaking from the roof.
Oh my gosh.
So every Friday and Saturday, the prisoners in Strange Ways prison were raving. Crazy.
And the spike in drugs that he was talking about, how is that connected to you?
Because we were pumping house music into Strange Ways, so obviously the prisoners wanted drugs.
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Not great.
No, what a crazy situation to deal with in your business.
Yeah.
So what?
Not ideal at all.
And so is that the only season that it was there?
Yeah.
In that venue?
Yeah. So we moved it there and we thought, well, we're going to carry on, but we're not going through all that palaver again with prisons and stuff. So I went on the internet and found the biggest air raid shelter in the centre of Manchester for World War II, where the walls were like 12 foot thick, and that was Store Street.
Wow.
So you've been in Store Street, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's obviously Yoris Vaughan. That was the biggest air raid shelter. That's what it was.
Mike, and then like the start, just I find it like the things that you have to overcome, like you find that, and then what is the next step? You go to Manchester Council and go, can we do this? Can I, like,
Yeah.
this, I've got this idea. Is that just literally how it starts?
That's it.
It's very cool.
Yeah. No, do you know what? That will always, for me, be my favourite home for Warehouse Budget.
Really?
Store Street. I felt like it became too big. It was manageable. It was quite intimate. It was even though there was 2,500 people in there. It was a nice environment. But yeah, that's just me.
What was that like as a business? Because at that time Warehouse Project was the main product that you had ultimately.
Yes.
So your business was it was kind of everything built up to the last 3 months of the year.
Yep.
Like, how was that operationally? Is that like actually a dream because you've got 9 months to plan this thing that's going to execute amazingly? And
Yeah.
really,
Essentially. I mean, it's hard to ramp up the workforce because obviously you can't sustain a full squad for 9 months of the year when you're not operating. So we used to use a lot of freelancers.
yeah,
Which was great, which is kind of why I was so passionate when we went into lockdown. The freelancers didn't get any furlough or anything like that. I don't know whether you did as a director, but they were completely forgotten about. And a lot of those were my mates.
yeah.
So that's why I was very passionate and speaking up for them during that period.
Because just touching on that, during that period, that's when you started. Is it United We Stream?
Yeah.
That was like an every weekend event
It
that
was.
happened. It was meant to be a one-off, was it, to start with?
Well, yeah, so basically what happened was Burnham phoned me up and said, it sounds weird calling him Burnham. I feel in environments like this, if I call him Andy, I feel like I should call him Burnham. So Andy phoned me up and was like, look, so I don't know if you remember when we went into lockdown, there were 2 massive illegal raves and one kid actually died. I think it was a rave in Oldham and there's one in, you see, the Partington or Carrington. One had 6,000 people, one had 2,000 people. So Andy was really worried about that. Illegal raves, there are no paramedics or no police, there's no security. It's really, really dangerous. So there was that. And also he was very concerned about people suffering from chronic loneliness. And actually a lot of the staff at Warehouse Project lived by themselves in flats in town, didn't have balconies. Yeah. So I really got it. Because they were cooped up for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. So I think going into lockdown, Demi thought, we've got family time. And then I threw myself into this United We Stream. And over a 10-week period, it went from an idea to the most viral thing that happened during lockdown. And we had 10.4 million viewers. And the idea was you could watch it free of charge. But if you could donate £1, £2, £3, or whatever, it would go to help the homeless, it would go to help the freelancers, it would go to help charities. And we raised 612,000
during
that
God.
10 week. Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, that's probably, everyone remembers me for Warehouse Project, Parklife, or Nighttime Economy Advisor, but that was my proudest thing I ever did.
Really?
Yeah.
How long did that go on for then?
10 weeks.
10 weeks, wow.
Yeah. It was nuts. We had the biggest superstars playing. We had the biggest bands. It was crazy. Jason Statham was posting videos of him in Hollywood saying, I'm looking at United We Stream in Manchester, go for it. And it's like, it was crazy.
And where were the artists playing? In their own location? And then...
So some were in their own locations, but the Met Theatre in Bury, Vic, her name was, gave me the keys and we set up a studio there. Obviously socially distanced.
Yeah.
But that's where we set it up.
How brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm just really interested from an operational business perspective. Like when you did your first night of Warehouse Project, like the volume of visitors, all the things you had to comply with on all of the conditions on the license, like pulling that team together, Sacha, how, to actually execute it and operate on it, like, was that, did that already feel quite natural to pull all of that together? Like, it feels like putting that kind of event on feels like, wow, there's so much detail.
Absolute complete learning curve. And in fact, even when I sold it, March 24, it wasn't perfect. There were still learnings to make from it. And that's kind of how we moved around different venues. Store Street, in the end, when we moved from there in 2019, at the end of every season, we'd sit together as a team. Right, how do we improve service on the bar, speed to get to the toilets, people moving around the venue, all sorts of different, how do we make it better? And we'd taken Store Street to the most perfect way to rave. We couldn't improve it anymore. And we could have stayed there and the following season would have sold out, but then it would have started to peter off. So that's why we had to tear up the rule books and we moved it to Mayfield Depot.
Okay.
And we moved it from 2,500 to 10,000. And that had to really ramp the operation up.
And in terms of like pulling that team together, and say even like pre-Warehouse Project, when you were at Sankey's, or like that kind of, was it just a matter of finding the right people, testing, and you're not good enough, you are, like that kind of pulling together the crew who were able to execute on that?
I've always had a knack of spotting good people.
Really?
Yeah, and I think the way you treat people is so very, very important. So in my industry, people move around a lot. It's quite fickle.
Yeah.
But when I sold the business and I looked at the staff that still remain, they've been with me for years. Like Kim, who's the GM, was with us at the start, was with us at 2006. She worked for me at the warehouse on Pollard Street, 2003. And when I sold it, she was GM of the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Which is incredible.
Yeah. And as a leader of that business, like how would I have a mentor who's one of his main mantras is like, you get what you tolerate. And I'm just interested in
Got
terms...
to mention his name now.
He's called Nigel.
Okay.
Bottrell. He's called Nigel Bottrell.
Bottrell?
Yeah, it's
okay.
quite an unusual surname.
Posh.
Yeah. He has, do you think posh?
Nigel Bottrell.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's from Leeds. He has a business called Entrepreneurship Circle that helps and coaches other business owners. But he's very, very fixed on you get what you tolerate. And I'm just interested, like your leadership style, because you've ultimately got all of these people that have to execute to make Warehouse Project this amazing.
Yeah, something I've always been very against, I hate it, is any thought of a hierarchy.
Really?
Yeah, my office was always an open office, always. And I think that's good because even subconsciously, you might not be trying to listen to a conversation, but it's coming in. So you understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I've never, ever liked the idea of VIP at events. Sometimes at Warehouse Project, I've walked into the VIP and I was like, what are you doing? It's absolutely rammed. People are shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And they just want to be seen as a VIP.
Yeah.
And then people want to go backstage and it's like...
Yeah. I think the quicker entry is nice. That's for me a bonus.
Yes,
of the VIP.
that's a bonus.
Rather than
yes.
that's the tick in the box.
But yeah, even we used to say you get a bigger toilet facility. Well, yeah, you did, but it was a disabled toilet we were stuck in there. That was it. So it was just a bigger toilet. But no, I've never liked the idea of backstage or VIP or anything like that. I'm quite old-fashioned when it comes to events, and I think the dance floor is where it's at. The other thing as well that I absolutely despise is phones on dance floors.
Yeah.
I hate it. I've been banging on about this for years. It's killing the dance floors.
Yeah,
it's
agreed.
killing them. I think about events like at his absolute peak, David Guetta, when he'd come on at Store Street, you know, and you knew he was coming at 12 o'clock. So I would know the customers would start shifting. It's about 20 to 12. The bars would be rammed, toilets would be very, very busy. You'd have to throw all your staff on them. And then at 5 to 12, before Guetta came on, the dance floor was heaving.
Really?
Yeah, and the energy that was building up, you could feel I'd love to stand next to the dance floor, you could feel the energy. Then he would come on and people would lose their shit. Now, you look at the crowd, they all stood like that there, like filming it. You know, I saw in the last season, my last season at Warehouse Project, it was I'm not going to say his name actually, because he's a lovely guy, but a guy was headlining it, and kids came into the event, sat at the back of the room, sitting around and stuff, weren't really dancing. Headliner came on at 12, all got up, started filming it, and then started to leave half an hour after. So they'd got the image.
No way, really?
Next day on Instagram, I was in the Warehouse Project last night.
How bizarre.
Yeah, and I was like, that's not cool at all.
No.
And there's all these little things that started to irritate me. And I thought, again, like I did with Sankey's at the end, this is becoming a bit of a job.
And is that part of it? Because you did exit Warehouse in 2024, was it?
Yeah, so I did the deal in March 21. I was like, okay, I'm ready. This is it. You know, I started to have dreams of, because I'm very, very hands-on, were hands-on at the events.
Really?
Yeah, so, you know, I've not once had a drink at one of my events. Oh. So on the door, running around, checking everything.
And would you be at most events?
Every single one.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I started to think, am I going to be on a Zimmer frame stood on this door? And then I also thought to myself, do you know what? I've married Demi now. I just want to enjoy myself for a little bit. And then we started to talk about, you know, having a kid, which is why I've got this chest infection we were talking about before, because he keeps bringing germs back from nursery. And I thought, yeah, I'm ready to do this now. So I did the deal in 21. I had to stay on for 3 years, and I exited March 24. Don't regret it one iota.
You don't?
No, I do not regret.
That was going to be my next question, because I feel like a lot of people talk about, like, you know, the business is the baby, their identity is the business.
I get,
like how.
So when I look back now, I get very irritated when I see things that are happening that I wouldn't have done. I'm not necessarily right, but I look at stuff and I'm like, really? But then I've had the most incredible 2 years. Demi became pregnant. How many dads can spend the first 19 months with their son?
Yeah.
So I did that. You know, I've watched Lowen grow up. We've been on endless holidays. I am ready to go again now.
Okay, so you were just like, you were ready for a chill, I guess. Like you
just wanted to chill.
Yeah, I
that
guess
was
you
it.
spent a lot of your years and weekends.
Yes.
Out till the early hours, making sure everything's going smoothly.
Correct. But now I'm ready to. I've had a few meetings over the last few months, and I've got itchy feet.
Nice. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about, because it's really popular in business, but like the word personal brand.
Yeah.
And so you have two co-founders of Warehouse Project and Parklife, is that right? But I feel like most people don't know that, or don't realise, or don't know who they are, and so, but people know Sacha Lord.
Yeah.
And like in terms of personal brand, because especially now, because it's so easy to generate content, people are saying it's more important than ever to have your thing that you stand for, who you are, what you're about. Like that's how a good, you know, it's a part of growing your business.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Was it just something that kind of happened naturally that you came to the front of the business? Did you actually go consciously, I need to be kind of forefront for Warehouse Project?
I realised, I laughed when he said personal brand, by the way, because my friend Ash, used to work at Social Chain.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know him? He's bang. Every time I go on LinkedIn now, Ash is talking about personal brand the whole time.
Well, it's the thing, the hot topic, yeah.
I had to come to the forefront because in September 2013, very, very sadly, at Victoria Warehouse, a guy called Nick Bonney took far, far, far too many drugs.
Right.
And we managed to get him to hospital, but he didn't make it. And I was advised by my PR company to say nothing put a very bland corporate statement out. And I thought about it for 48 hours and I was like, that's not me, actually. A kid's died at, from partying at warehouse projects. And, he got his drugs in, and I've always said, if you can't stop drugs getting into a Category A prison like Strangeways, what are you supposed to do with a nightclub or a field? It's impossible. So I've always felt you need to... The answer, the war on drugs is lost. The answer is educate, educate, educate. And I thought, no, I'm going to grab the bull by the horn, actually, here, and called a press conference, because I thought maybe we can educate kids on the back of the sad news with Nick Bonney. And my PR company was absolutely right, actually. I was vilified in the press for it.
Really?
Yeah, vilified. My mum was walking through Alti, and there was a sandwich board outside a shop, and the Manchester Evening News had written on it, Super Club Death Boss speaks out. And it was like, it was horrible. But
oh, gosh.
I'd go through it again, because I started to get that conversation going, and people do talk more freely about it now. And, I was the one that did the first on-site drugs testing, and I've always been adamant that has to happen at large-scale events. So ultimately, it saved lives. But that pushed me to the front, and I realised that at that moment that actually I have a voice here, because not many people in our industry, in nightclubs and festivals, did have a voice.
Yeah.
So I kind of took the mantle at that point.
So it was more for a social responsibility kind of perspective. And then I get that has grown, hasn't it, over recent years? So you were the...
It has, but, I'm quite opinionated. If I believe in something, I'm not always right, but if I believe in something, then I will talk about it. And even if 1 million people are disagreeing with me, and I still think I'm right, I won't change tact. That's the way I am. Yeah,
well, and that's like morphed, but like then transitioned into you were the Greater Manchester Nighttime Economy Advisor, and is that a role that you as I guess with Warehouse Projects, as you were like, this is now not the kind of thing I want to do anymore? Is that where you've seen...
I think so, yeah. I've watched Andy operate very closely for 7 years.
Well, how and when did you first meet Andy? Because I feel like you have a close friendship and you know each other well.
Yeah, so on the back of the arena attack, actually.
Right.
So obviously the attack was 22nd of May 2017. And there was the One Love concert with Ariana Grande and things like 10 days later, which was amazing. But I thought, it's a really little Hollywood concert, this. You've got all the big mega stars. And then we had Parklife the week later. Ariana Grande was 50,000 people. Parklife was 80,000 people. And I thought, let's do a tribute, but for Manchester people who were there that night, people who ran into fear rather than running away from fear. So the paramedics, the doctors, the nurses, the police, the firemen, the local councillors, taxi drivers that gave people free lifts that were stranded, hoteliers that gave people free hotels that were stranded. Let's get them all on stage and let's get Andy to come and say a few words. I've never seen anything like that before. 80,000 nutters in Parklife that are normally running around.
Yeah.
You could hear a pin drop when he spoke, absolute pin drop. And it's not like these politicians that I come across where they've got teleprompters in front of them telling them what to say. He stood there for 10 minutes and made the most impassioned speech I've ever seen in my life. And literally 1 year later, he made me his Nighttime Economy Advisor. And, he listens to people, and he is the same person in front of the camera than he is off the camera. Most politicians aren't like that.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not what you see is what you get, but you do with that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, he is one of us. He's just a normal person. And Demi hates politics. She can't stand politics. And she hates me putting my head above the parapet because of all the shitty trolls that come out. I'm used to it now. But I showed her his campaign video a couple of weeks ago before it was launched. I'm like, this is what's going to go live tonight. And she actually came back into the room and said to me, do you know what, that's giving me goosebumps. And I was like, why is that giving you goosebumps? She said, well, he's just one of us, isn't he? He's just one of us. We could have someone, Andy'd have to speak for himself, but we could have someone running the country that is one of us. Mm-hmm. I've never seen that in my lifetime before.
No.
Tell me another PM that approachable. Sunak, no. May, no. Boris, forget it. Major, no. Thatcher, do it. No, there's no one, but he is one of us.
And so, are you a part of his campaign with because he's currently, as we record this, he's for Ashton and Makerfield
By-election,
running for MP there. So you were part of that campaign.
Yes.
Is that do you think that's part of your next phase of life in politics? And
so, who knows?
Okay. maybe not.
Yeah, so I did have. I was mulling things over a few months ago. Demi put a firm stop to it.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not off the table just yet. Just the time's not right. I've got things to do. There's still things that I need to achieve.
Yeah, no, I get that. We haven't touched on Parklife, and I would like to. Okay. So just chat me through. So you're doing Warehouse Project. So you start that in 2006. Parklife starts in 2010.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Platfields was the first. So what was the? Was it again just like I think this would be really cool? Had you been to somewhere else?
So there was an event that had run 2 years before us called Mad Ferret. Yeah, which I didn't realise at the time. It was a play on the Manx phrase "mad for it." Not very funny, but they lost a fortune, and the guys were actually trying to do something really clever, but they didn't. I think they'd admit it themselves. They didn't quite pull it off. So I was thinking, do you know what we're really missing in Manchester? The whole idea of a prom. People started to talk about an end-of-year prom, an American thing. And in 2009-10, people just started to bound this around. So I thought, there's not really any big end-of-year student party. It's like, bang, Platfields, in the middle of Student Village, 20,000 people, let's go for it. And it sold out within weeks. Incredible. Calvin Harris actually headlined the first one. But he just built and built and built and built. And, you know, when I sold in 24, it was 80,000. Oh,
my goodness. Yeah. Wow.
Incredible.
And as a business, like operationally, how does that compare to Warehouse Projects? Like the execution of it, are they completely different beasts?
So Warehouse Project is manageable. So if something happened, I could be where that thing happened within 5 minutes the most. Parklife, no. I would spend the whole weekend in event control literally rocking. Like that. You've got event control and all these desks there. You've got a wall of TV, so there's CCTV all over the place. And you've got ambulance service, NHS, fire, police, Manchester City Council. Everybody sat in this one room. Then you've got this big table in the middle with a huge map where you meet every hour or so and you start looking at things that are happening. And
wow.
It's actually, to do something like that is a science.
I'm sure.
You can't just sell 80,000 tickets.
No.
And hope for the best. You've got to try and work out how you're going to get them there, how you're going to get them back.
Yeah.
You're responsible for these young, I can call them kids, I'm 54, these young kids, mainly 18 to 24-year-olds, you are responsible for them when you're in the site. And I get really annoyed when I see promoters who, you know, backstage drinking champagne and, oh, look at me and look at what I've achieved and everything. It's your job. You've got to show some responsibility for people inside your venue. So, yeah, it is absolute. There's an army that works there. When I was there, just over the Parklife weekend, 4,500 people would be working there behind the scenes. 1,000 security and 1,000 bar people straight away. It was nuts.
I can't even. That just feels like such a mammoth thing to have the playbooks. This is how we do things. Like because Parklife's got I have never been to a Parklife, but like I see. Sorry. From the marketing.
So far, you've not read my book.
I've not been to Parklife. I have had free tickets off you.
You gagged in for free tickets.
And now you're here.
Brilliant.
But I see like from the illustrations of Parklife, like the marketing of it, the energy of it. There is a part, like it's got a feel to it, the Parklife way. Do you like that way that you do things? How did you make sure that kind of flowed through in everything that you do? Is there one key person in your team that makes sure?
It was actually a designer called Ariel Moss, I think her name was. She did the cover for the Disclosure album, the first one.
Oh, wow. Do
you remember like the face with the two eyes?
Yeah.
She did that. So she's always done it.
And so, but that also, that ethos of like being at Parklife, because again, I've never been, but as I've always understood it, like Warehouse Project, like it's a good energy, it's a good atmosphere, and I feel like that comes also from the execution of it and the organisation and your team as well, like how they operate on site. Like, is that difficult to, this is how we do things, guys, or is that just kind of, is there somebody else in your team that's responsible for that?
Well, there was a production company that would bring in, but again, I was extremely hands-on. I think you have to be.
Totally, I can imagine.
Got to be. You know, even down to Portaloos, you know, Dr. Lou, he wasn't a real doctor, by the way, but you know, go and make sure that Phil, he's in my phone as Phil Bogboy for some reason. You know, I'd make sure he was fine, and just, it's hard with Parklife because there's 4,500 people, but certainly with Warehouse Project, I would know every single person's name, everyone.
Really?
And yeah, and I'd always use their first name.
Yeah.
And check on them. Doesn't matter who it was, from cleaners, security, bar staff, you know, they're there to make the operation flow. So it was my job to make them happy.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of, obviously, these events have been incredibly successful, but kind of in early days or in first iterations of them, selling tickets and making sure you sold tickets. I guess like if there's business owners that are in hospitality or running events, or just what was that like for you? I guess when you set tickets live,
do you know what?
You've got an element of, are they going to sell?
Yeah. When you put an event on, you know within the first 2 minutes, is it a good event or is it...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, if the event's screwed, there's nothing you can do about it. In the old days, you could go out and put loads of posters and flyers out, and it would make a difference. The public have changed now, and I think the public can smell when an event is not selling. You know, if you ever see an event advertising 50% of tickets now sold out, that's a lie. It's fucked. You've probably done 20%. Yeah. That's it. You know, it's just, the public see that straight away.
Yeah. So what do you think was the key to having the ticket selling straight away, or was the act, or do you think also there's just an element of people trust that Warehouse Project is going to be a good night?
I think there was a trust in the brand, actually. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. And I mean, in 2026, I know that you've talked about this so much in the press, like on your socials, just it is, I mean, it's difficult to run a business full stop, but I feel like it's kind of intensified, hasn't it? In my own business, like towards the end of last year, you could just tell people were spending a bit slower, making decisions a bit slower.
Yeah. It
feels a bit like people were uncertain. And I don't know. Yeah, I think 2026 is still similar. Obviously, you've exited a business. Just for, if you were back now, like running a business, starting a business, how, I don't know, is there any like kind of advice, or how you would, if these people listen to this who are in hospitality, and I know you speak to so many of them, like you're properly in the industry now still, aren't you, like understanding how it is, like what
I'm
is...
I'm chair of the Nighttime Industry Association.
Are you?
So that's more UK focused, not just Manchester.
Understand. So what would your advice be to business owners?
Do you know
now?
what? There's so much doom and gloom out there at the moment, and I get it. I could rattle off a load of stats for you, like the profit on a pint at the moment is 13p. That's it. Once you're paid for the product, your VAT, alcohol duty, utility bills, staff serving, 13. You know, it's ridiculous. But there's a big but that comes with that. I would say to anybody, especially people who are young and maybe haven't got married or don't have a mortgage, if you want to start a business up and you're passionate about something, I promise you, everybody around you will tell you not to do it. Probably your mums and dads, probably your best friends. Don't even listen to them. Just go and do it.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah. Just do it. Because, you know, going back to that little anxious geek at Manchester Grammar, if you'd said to that 16-year-old with his little boxy briefcase, look, yes, all your mates are going to Oxbridge, right? That's a done deal. But you're going to create the biggest nightclub in the world, biggest metropolitan restaurant in the UK, be the first nighttime economy advisor, have a Sunday Times bestseller, considering you got a U, it's English lit, I'd say you're on drugs. But I didn't listen to any of those people around me that were telling me not to do it, to go and get a proper job. You know, it's not great saying to, like, my grandma, she didn't get ahead. She couldn't understand it at all. My granddad would say, would you serve food at your events? I'm like, I've not got the heart to tell him most people are off their tits.
Yeah.
They didn't understand what I was doing, and they were all really wanting me to get a proper job, proper 9 to 5 job. If you've got a passion for something, do not listen to anybody, just do it.
So regardless of what
even
going on in the outside world,
just do it. There are loads of very successful hospitality businesses out there at the moment. Here in Manchester, there really are. They are finding it tough as well. They are having to look at areas where they can save. But believe me, they're making good money.
So do you think just part of it is about continually being creative, inventive?
That's it, evolving the whole time. If you looked at our lineups for Warehouse Project in 2006, they wouldn't sell a sausage now. They would not sell one ticket.
What do you mean? Because
everything evolves so quickly.
Okay, yeah.
It's just moving with the times constantly.
Yeah.
And, in hospitality, you look at things like Jamie's, TGI, they all closed. They never moved. I was not shocked at all. TGI's went bust. Now, I used to drive past that one in Sale. And it looked like a crematorium in the end. It was horrible. It was obviously going to that. They never changed the menu. No. When that first opened, the big thing was Jack Daniel's steak. Yeah. Guess what? When it closed, they're still doing Jack Daniel's steak. It's like, you've got to move and evolve the times.
So true. And you've used the word passion there a couple of times. Do you think it's really key that you are passionate about your business, that you're enjoying what you're doing? Like, have you always felt like that?
Yeah, you have to really enjoy what you're doing. You've got to get a kick out of it, because the second you lose that passion,
do you think it's
just time to get out?
Do you reckon?
Yeah, you've got to feel the energy in the business the whole time.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And just a question I wanted to ask you, so many of our clients come to us because they get stuck in the weeds, because business owners there's always a million things to do. You have overwhelm, they need to prioritize. Everything often comes back to them because they are the font of all knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you've clearly done the most amazing job of having ideas, making them happen, but it can't only happen because you've got all of these team.
Yeah.
Have you got a secret sauce to that, of either not being overwhelmed, of making sure you're focusing on the most important things that only Sacha can do?
You have to really trust people, that they're going to take things off you to do themselves. Like, I knew I would not have to look at the bars because Kim, the GM, had those nailed.
Yeah.
There were certain areas that I knew I didn't have to deal with because the right people were looking after those. And I think you have to be prepared. So, certainly when you grow it, not to begin with, but when you grow it so that you can't be here, there and everywhere, you've got to be prepared to let go of things. I struggled with that for a couple of years, and then I realised, that is the right way forward to grow the business.
Yeah. And when you say you struggled, was that and then just about you needed to up? Because again, so many of the businesses that we deal with, you go through this evolution of people that get you here won't get you there, and clearly you've been through stratospheric growth. Was that also about constantly up leveling the team around you?
It was, yeah.
Really?
No, I found it even when we'd have license inspections during an event, that was always me that did it, and then Kim or Johnny that worked for me, they'd go and do it. And I had the confidence that they'd be saying all the right things.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay.
You've got to let things go.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I'm very passionate that business owners can get their business to a place where they can focus on what they enjoy doing the most in the business.
Yeah.
I know that you're in a different phase of life now and what you enjoy doing, but when you were back in the thick of it, just what was that thing that is the secret sauce that only Sacha should be doing, or Sacha can do best? That's where you should be putting your energy. What would you say that was?
Mine was always dealing with the authorities. That was it.
Really?
Yeah. If there was a problem, then I'd be the one that had to go and deal with it.
Okay.
Believe me, loads of people think, because of my connection with Andy Burnham, loads of people think the council turned a blind eye to my operations. Trust me.
It's the complete opposite, I'm sure.
So firstly, people don't understand the setup. Andy's the combined authority. The council are completely separate. So he works with all 10 boroughs. Manchester City Council's, one of those boroughs. And believe me, I was dragged into that town hall more times than I can remember.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And given a bollocking as well.
And the exit, I know, like, we're not going to go into like loads of detail about it, but I just want to ask, was that, because I think a lot of business owners, you know, they do what they do, and maybe some business owners think, like, I wouldn't know how to exit. Can I exit? Did that become like part of your plan, or were you approached, or was that like, did you bake that into a?
No, I always knew. So in 2016, we were approached by an American company called Live Nation, who owned Ticketmaster as well.
Okay.
And they made a proposal to buy half the business, which we couldn't refuse. It was, it was a good offer. So we sold half a warehouse on Parklife at that point. And then I knew at that point that they'd be buying the other half. It was just a matter of time, yeah.
And when they bought half, was that difficult from a, oh, I've now got these people involved, it's still my baby?
No, it was very difficult to begin with because, I am not an Excel spreadsheet person.
No.
I despise them. Everything for me is written down on a piece of paper, and the accountants were all over us, questioning everything. And in the end, I had to get on a train and go down to see Dennis, who's the person that we did the deal with, and say, "This isn't me. I can't have these accountants all over me." And he picked up the phone, he spoke to them, and told them to back off, and that was the last we heard, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they just said, "Get on with it."
Wow. Because they knew they were better with you making it.
We're making good money,
yeah.
So they told us to, just go.
So they bought half of it, and then how many years later did they buy the whole thing?
24.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was so then that period in between? Were you just left to get on with it, do good stuff?
Get on, build it.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Do you like look back now and go like, God, I can't believe what I've created?
No, I think I might do in another 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. I'm still, because I'm on that journey of, right, I now know the next thing I'm going to do. So, and I probably know the thing I'm going to do after that as well. So I need to achieve those. And then, when I've got my pipe and slippers on, I'll look back. I'm not a hoarder, but I've kept everything over the years.
Have you really?
Yeah, kept all the flyers and things. And the first thing I did with that book was I got them all out, the press cuttings and artwork and things. So I like looking at those.
Yeah. I also do the same of like, as I've gone through the years of like little things in the paper or plans that I've had or notes that I've written of things I want to achieve.
It's nice to look into.
It's very cool. Yeah. I think and not enough people kind of record the journey as they go, and you can't almost kind of ascertain like where you've come from, like on a day where you're like, gosh, this is difficult, but actually looking back and going, oh, this has been quite...
I still use the Filofax.
Do you really?
I do, yeah, and I must have the last 20 years of Filofaxes. So you could say to me, what were you doing on Monday
that's
the 13th
brilliant.
in like 2008, and I'll tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a good, okay, Filofax is a good thing to bring back.
It is.
Yeah. Sacha, we're coming towards the end of our time together. I know it's boiling hot in here.
Do you know, it's bloody roasting. Is it these lights?
I think it's the lights. I think it's the aircon. And I think it's a very hot day in Manchester, which we're not prepared for. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's been a real masterclass. I feel like in just having big ideas and just making them happen, no matter what you need to do to make them happen.
Yeah.
Which is what most business owners are all about.
Look, everyone watching this will know that you get a kicking. You don't get everything right the whole time.
No.
I still make mistakes now, but the people that succeed are the ones that learn from those mistakes and don't make them again.
Yeah, so true.
So, if you've got a business and you've gone bust, then restart again tomorrow. And, just learn from the mistakes you made.
It's such a brilliant piece of advice. I think, especially in the UK, we can be quite self-deprecating, can't we?
People sit there and beat themselves up.
Yeah, and definitely on entrepreneurs as well. Obviously, like with everything, the kind of political situation at the moment, entrepreneurs are kind of being considered the worst thing in the country, and they need to be taxed higher. And
talking about Rachel Reeves.
Yeah,
she's useless.
Yeah,
she's horrible, isn't she?
It's pretty fantastical. I feel like what they've implemented and how that's been considered the right route. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, no, I think that's just a really amazing piece of advice to end on. Like, you just need to make stuff happen, and everything's possible, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sacha. It's been a real pleasure.
Good.